Today we continue our exploration of how we can live on purpose in 2022. In the last chapter, we spoke about what we would want our future selves to look like and how we can be more intentional in our spiritual lives. Now in this video, we explore heart health, how we can be more intentional in our emotional lives. Just a reminder that for the month of January, we have started an on-purpose challenge to help us work more deeply with our intentions for the year and to support each other on this journey. If you haven't joined yet, I really encourage you to consider it. Just join the On-Purpose Challenge group in the tribe. It's free. And now let's get started with today's practice. Take a moment to still yourself. Focus on your breathing and intentionally breathe more deeply and slowly. Try to let go of any stories or presumptions about yourself, your relationships, your world and God that might keep you from opening to life in this practice. And make a commitment now to be receptive to anything that God or the universe may want to offer you through this practice. And then when you're ready, ask yourself, where am I now? Think about this especially as it relates to your heart and your emotions. And when you feel that you have a sense of an answer to that question, ask yourself, where do I want to be at the end of 2022? Try to keep your answers to these questions in mind throughout your practice today. How healthy is your heart? This question has become one of the primary medical issues of our time. The World Health Organization has stated that cardiovascular diseases are the leading causes of death globally, and many countries are working to find public health policies that are effective at combating heart disease. Of course, all of this is referring to the physical muscle that pumps oxygenated blood through our bodies. But there is another kind of heart health that is equally important: our emotional health. It could even be more important when we consider the impact of our emotional states on our physical well-being and behavior. Thanks to Daniel Goleman's best-selling book, we have all now heard of emotional intelligence. Now, Goleman defines emotional intelligence in terms of 5 capacities: to know our emotions, which is a more difficult and rare ability than we might imagine; to manage our emotions; to motivate ourselves; to recognize emotions in others; and to handle relationships. So much has been written about emotional intelligence that I really don't need to go into more detail here. But there are 2 things I want to explore in this video that I hope will help us all to set positive intentions for a healthy emotional life. And the first thing is to recognize what emotional health looks like. And then the second is to recognize and accept our unique emotional makeup and capacity. But just before I do this, I want to address something that you may be thinking right now. This whole thing of setting intentions may sound a little too self-helpy for your liking. If Evo Faith is a spiritual community, why are we talking about emotional health and other areas of our lives that may not feel very spiritual? On the other hand, the word spiritual may not have any value for you at all. It may feel too churchy or too religious, and you may be feeling relieved that I'm speaking about hearts and minds and bodies, the parts of ourselves we can examine and understand and experience firsthand. If you're in either of those 2 camps, I hope you won't mind if I explain my approach in this series. You see, for me, spirituality is about recognizing 2 things. The first is that we all live within a bigger reality that includes and is more than what we can see and hear and touch and taste and smell. Consciousness, love, values, hopes, dreams, and even intentions are all non-tangible, but extremely important facets of our existence. So for me, spirituality is about intentionally connecting with these non-tangible realities so that we can show up authentically and courageously in our lives, in our relationships, and in our world, and so that we can live richer and fuller lives. And the second thing is that we all exist within a reality that is far bigger than ourselves. We're part of a world that is conscious and interconnected, which is within a cosmos that is conscious and interconnected. The universe is permeated by something, call it God or life or cosmic consciousness or the process of evolution, whatever, that drives creation to greater levels of complexity and connectedness. This thing that permeates the universe can be thought of as spirit with a capital S, if you like, and it exists within each of us, even as we exist within it. Remember my bottle in the ocean metaphor from a few videos back? Now, if this is all true, then every facet of our lives, our world, and our relationships can be thought of as spiritual. Now, again, you may choose to use different words, but the experience remains. An authentic, fully alive life is one in which we engage with every facet of our lives from a holistic perspective, taking into account both physical and non-physical realities. So with that in mind, let's return to our theme of heart health. What does it look like to be emotionally healthy? There's a temptation here to view certain emotions as good and healthy and others as bad and unhealthy. Anger, despair, fear, and jealousy can be examples of emotions that we generally view as negative. Love, joy, confidence, and contentment are examples of emotions that we generally view as positive. And so to be healthy, we think we need to reduce how much we feel the negative emotions and increase how much we feel the good ones. And this, of course, leads us to try and hide or repress the negative emotions and only show or express the good emotions. And that only makes us increasingly unhealthy, and ultimately it can lead to serious breakdown and even damage to our physical organs, including our physical heart. Emotions are a complex combination of physical responses and biochemical reactions that we feel inside us. They create physical responses in our bodies: crying, laughing, increased heart rate, relaxed muscles. And they're a way for our deepest awareness to communicate with us about our situation, to show us things that we need to process and be aware of. This means that all emotions, positive and negative, are natural, normal, and very important for our health. The problem is when some emotions become fixed or out of balance. Emotional health, then, from my perspective, is about embracing the full spectrum of human emotions, learning to listen to what our emotions are trying to tell us, and then acting in the most appropriate way to address what our inner emotional wisdom is teaching us. There's one more element to consider here. We don't all experience emotions the same way. Some of us feel our emotions much more intensely than others, and some of us feel less intensely. If we can think of our emotions like a wave, we're constantly moving from the high of emotions like joy and love and excitement to the low of emotions like anger, depression, and anxiety. And I'm not giving value judgments to high and low here. But we move through these waves many times a day, and for some people the range between the highs and lows is fairly moderate, while for others the range is massive. Neither is right or wrong, and neither is necessarily healthier than the other. They're just different. But it's really important that we recognize what our own natural range is, and also the rate at which our emotional states can change. And then we need to learn how to regulate our emotions, embracing them and learning from them in the healthiest possible way, and then expressing them appropriately. So how is your emotional health? Which emotions do you think of as bad, and which ones do you think of as good? How easily do you name your emotions? And how comfortable are you with experiencing and expressing all of your emotions? And what intentions do you need to set with regard to your emotional heart health in 2022? This is the work I encourage you to do throughout this coming week. So now take a moment to sit with today's meditation. What spoke to you? What challenged you or excited you? What do you want to carry with you through the rest of the week? And now when you're ready, I encourage you to think again about adding to your vision board that we spoke about in the last video, that I encourage you to use throughout this series. And the idea is to gather images and symbols and words and anything else that will help you to envision how you intend to live on purpose this year. Maybe you've decided to use a physical board where you create a collage, or maybe it's a graphic document on your computer or your tablet or your phone, or it's a page in your journal. Doesn't matter what it is, but I hope that you'll add to it today so that you can work more deeply and intentionally with this week's practice. Again, if you're feeling especially brave, you can even post a photo of your vision board in the On Purpose Challenge group. Feel free to pause this video as you think about what you want to add to your vision board this week. And now as we end this video and we prepare to go into the rest of our week, I encourage you to think about what intentions you want to set for your emotional life in 2022. What systems will you put in place to support this intention? And what habits will you build into your life to make sure this intention becomes a reality for you? And just to remind you that if you want to do more work around this, I'm writing in more detail on the Evo Faith blog about how to set intentions and put the systems in place to support them, how to build habits so that our intentions can become an integral and automatic facet of our lives. You may want to go and check out those blog posts. And so now I wish you an intentional week, a healthier heart, and an expanded capacity to live on purpose. See you next time.